Hi, my name is Layla Felder. I'm 17 years old and I'm an avid art lover. Come join me as I talk with artists and curators about their art, their processes, and what makes them tick, because we are in conversation.
Come on,
Your
that's
own
a great
snow
way.
globe? Are you kidding
His
me?
own snow globe with his pups.
That's crazy.
Isn't that great?
That's so fun.
So it's Ted Turner's birthday, and he saved the date.
Wow.
What a great invitation, right?
Hi, I'm here with Peter Baguth. How
She's ready. I was like, wow, she knows how she does it. She's on camera. Let's go, ready to go.
How do you describe, I was gonna say photographer or?
Yeah, it's a particular type. It's called stereoscopic photography, which means 3D photography. And it's as old as photography itself, actually. People don't realize this, but it was developed at the same time photography was being developed, and it's based on the biology of how we see things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have two eyes generally, and each eye gets an image, a separate image from the other one, a little bit different from this one, and it goes to this unit in our brain that puts them together. This is the same basic process where I actually have two images inside the viewers that you look at. And so each lens is focusing you on a slightly different image, just like your eyes would see.
Can we take this?
Sure. So you'll see that there's two images side by side, and they're slightly different from each other, right? So each eye is seeing a different perspective, and then that brain puts it together, just like you see in real life.
So that's what makes it look like there's like it's.
It gives you the illusion of 3D. The interesting thing also is that you have to look through a viewer, which means that your entire visual context is focused on this image. See, so there's no surrounding. You know, if you look at photography on a wall, you look at that, but it's in this room, it's next to this. You have that context, right?
Yeah.
It's not very focused unless you focus, right? But when you look through a viewer, that's all you see is this image. So you kind of have it gives you a feeling of going there.
Yeah.
So if there's a room, it feels like you're going into that room. Or if it's an old image, it looks like you're going back in time into that place. And that illusion of 3D and that illusion of perspective gives it that, just this little emotional feel for me.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I like about it. And it's also, you have to physically involve yourself with a photograph. So people that come in here, they have to bend over and look. And a lot of people, that's a kind of a strange thing to do, to look at art, right? To look in a little box and you're bending over and you don't know what you're looking at.
Usually they're like, don't touch it, don't get close
Right,
to
you're not
it.
supposed to touch anything. So this is, I like the physical component of, you have to choose to stop and pause and look at the image. And a photograph is, of course, a pause.
Yeah.
So you're really pausing, right?
Yeah.
So you're pausing to look at the paused moment, right? So, and it's a bit of a surprise too. You don't know what you're going to see from one viewer to the next. So,
Does it make a difference?
I have to make
what
these
color
viewers.
fonts is?
No, I make the viewers myself, so I have to design them and
Wow.
everything else because there's nobody that's really shooting stereoscopic photography. So there's not equipment that's out there.
So do
All
you
my
like,
cameras are handmade with two lenses and that kind of thing.
so do you 3D print this?
Well,
or?
somebody does. I have to have the specifications of how big the lenses are and the magnification. It gets a little technical when it comes to lenses, just like in a camera, right? So it just has to kind of work. And I use these stands because in the old days, you've probably seen these old antique viewers. They're
Yeah.
wooden and you put in a black and white. So photographers were 3D stereoscopic photographing everything at the turn of the century. You know, the car races and you know, logging camps and political events, because people didn't travel then. It's 1890s, they didn't get around like we do. And viewers would be like a parlor entertainment in their living room. No TVs or anything, and they would take out the viewers and they would pass them around. Well, people don't do that anymore. So I had to try to figure out a way for people to access these without me walking up to them on the street and going, "Here, look at this." It's kind of, which I've done, but you know. So I think of different ways to invite people. So I'll make different light boxes and things. I'll make a 16-foot light box with the viewers on the side, so there's nothing on the walls. It's just in the middle of the room. The last show I did was portraits, and so I built a little living room with a coffee table that had a light right in it, and the viewers were right around the table because I wanted strangers to pass them to each other. It was, so going back to that old thing of passing them around. So it's a very, you know, it's very personal and interactive and physical. And I, you know, I taught myself to do this, and that started because my dad had an amateur stereo camera when I was a little kid, like 3 years old. So all of my childhood images are in 3D, and when I look at them, it's like, oh my God, we're at that place. So it had a big emotional pull on me. So probably about 20 years ago, I picked up the camera and just kind of taught myself how to shoot, and then taught myself more things. And what I did to teach myself the art history of, I wasn't trying to teach myself to be a photographer. I was teaching myself to be a stereoscopic photographer. That's what I focused on. So the way I taught myself what made a good 3D image was I collected all these old 3D images that, you know, somebody dies and it goes into their estate or something. I'd find them in flea markets or online, and I bought thousands of photos of total strangers doing whatever, and you know, I would pick through them and I'd see images that really worked for me, and I'd say, oh, that's a good image because of this, and that was my art history. It's called being an autodidact. Autodidact is when you teach yourself.
So did you go to art school?
No, I had a totally different career. I was I ran 3 different environmental groups during my career, but I also kind of taught myself to do certain things because, you know, I was working on political issues and being an activist, and you come home at the end of the day and you're not quite sure what you accomplished, but I can put my hands on this, right? I can technically learn how to do this. So it was just kind of a creative project for me, because I think the creative things are what really sustain you, really, no matter what you do. And sometimes it's hard to be creative at work. People don't like it so much. So. But it's it's been I really enjoy doing it. I've had a couple different shows that were kind of in a series for me. I did so there were a couple different eras of 3D photography. One was in the late 1800s when people were shooting everything and people were having those things in their living room. And then in the 50s there was Viewmaster for kids, the little click-through disc. And you know, Freud said that toys are our first art, you know, design. And Viewmasters were really our first photography collection. So our first photos that we had as children were in 3D, and then we kind of forget it, right? We don't see it anymore. So I kind of am doing that same process, just in a little bigger format. I only shoot film. Right, because I like the quality of the image. You know, it has no grain in it. It just really has a feel and a warmth to it. To me, like kind of like seeing the difference between a movie that's been shot on film and a movie that's been, digitally shot. So, yeah, I'm kind of old school that way.
I like that. Do you have like a specific process for taking pictures, or do you just sort of like go out and I don't know? Yeah,
I do have a process. 99% of them, my brain thinking about it, and then I go. And the process is, I try to get a shot. Okay. You know, I try to get a shot because I'm shooting lots of rolls to try to get that right lighting and everything else, something that looks good. And it's different with film. If you have a digital camera, you're and then you're going, oh, that little nuance. But if you're shooting film, you really learn how to shoot because you're not doing this. You have to set everything up, you've got to get it right, you got to think it through, and you can blow it. And you don't see what you got for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to send it out. So it's like a whole different thing than, here, look, a picture of you. Here it is. You just saw it, right?
Yeah.
If I took a picture of you, see you in a month. It takes some time. And that's, I think there's some value in that, that process, It's not that immediate satisfaction. You've got to really, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Was it hard to find a place to get them developed since like everybody?
It is hard to get them developed, yes. Yeah, I sent them to Illinois.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have to wait for it to get developed, but then you also have to wait for like the shipping.
Yeah, there's the mail and everything. It's the whole
Wow.
deal. Right. We don't have a lab here anymore that develops film.
Yeah, I
It's
remember.
heartbreaking. But, I love it. I just don't know if I could give it up.
Yeah.
I hope I can keep doing it.
Are these also on film that you've just blown up?
Yes,
Okay.
those were taken, digitized from the film and then
Okay.
blown up. They were used in different gallery shows.
Cool.
Yeah. So these are just images of things that are in the viewers in 3D, and I put this one here because people get a sense of the difference between how it looks in 2D and how it looks in 3D and the depth that you get from the viewer.
I love the depth.
It also
of the
confuses
smoke.
people because they don't know what's going
It
on.
did the same for me too, because I was like, wait, is this the same picture?
Yeah.
Is there like what's
Right.
happening? But like when you look in here, it like the smoke. I don't know. This is kind of a weird way to say, it, but the smoke feels so much more smoky.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, you can feel the body of the smoke. The other thing
Yeah.
about 3D that I really like to play with is rays of light can go through an image in 3D. You see what I mean? They're not flat. So these rays of light, maybe they're shooting this way, but they also might be coming this way. And you don't get a sense of that so much if you're looking at it in 2D, but in 3D, those rays are coming towards you.
Yeah.
Right? So if you do light painting or anything else, that's all in 3D. So the lights will all be like in different places in space, and I love messing with that.
yeah.
The thing what has been important for me to do as I started doing this is learning that if you're going to do something artistic or creative, what you need to do is just learn the technology and the techniques of doing it. No matter what you're doing, you just need to know how to do it.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And so I was taking pictures of everything, and people were saying, well, what would a show look like? Would they just all be one completely different thing? And I'd say, well, yeah, I like a surprise, right? But, I've worked towards having a theme, and the way that happened was once I got technically proficient in knowing how to take the picture, at least getting close to getting one, then you want to take that art form and take it to a level that no one else has done before, right? That's the fun and creative part once you learn the techniques. So what I've tried to do is, again, like figure out ways to display it and also use the 3D in some very kind of specific ways in shows. So I did one show that was basically given a nod to the Viewmasters. There was a woman in the 50s named Helen Thomas who worked for a Viewmaster, and she would make these little dioramas. And then she would film them in 3D, and they would be like Sammy Goes Into Space, and there'd be like little pipe cleaner dolls, for aliens and things. And so I wanted to modernize it, so I told the story of this guy Henry, who was just a little plaster doll I had. In fact, he's standing right in that corner over there. See?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
it's
and
so much smaller.
there's his rocket ship. So what I did was I built dioramas about him going into space.
Aww.
And then I filmed those, right? I had a friend here at the goat farm, Nikki Stars, who helped me with some of the sculptural aspects. And I'm going to show you. Want to see what that looks like?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find a viewer that has it in there. So I had it displayed kind of like you're seeing it, but I also turned it into a Viewmaster disc. So I was just paying a little homage to that woman who had made those dioramas, and it was kind of a fun project to do. And it allowed me to tell the story of a kid going into outer space without having to go to outer space and film. Let's see. I know I have one here. Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's okay.
It's such a fun contraption wall.
Where's that thing? Oh yeah, here's one. So sometimes get stuck in the viewers in the slot, but let's see what we can do here. What's in this one? Okay. Hopefully this will click through, because sometimes they get a little gummed up. I'll start it for you.
Okay.
This is kind of working. You have to kind of put it through it pretty good. Get it even. If you get stuck, you can. Okay, it starts right there. So you can maybe just look into the light that'll help. So it starts there. It's about a little boy who feels like the earth is not the safest place anymore. So you're gonna have to really click it to the next image. There you go. So you see his bedroom there?
Yeah.
Okay. So we built all those. So he's in his bedroom looking at outer space, thinking, maybe I'll go out there and look for, you know, something, right? That's what space kind of represents. It's like hope, and you can imagine anything you want out there. So he builds a rocket ship. He goes out into outer space, and he has this adventure, and he lands on this new planet, and he makes a friend at the very end.
It's stuck.
Here. Yeah, there's the rocket blasting off.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, is he landing?
I think so. He's coming into a new planet, I think.
Yeah, is there clouds?
Yeah.
So that was about a 10-foot long tunnel of cotton balls and lights, and that was like he was like crashing onto this planet in a storm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. There we go.
there you go.
Oh, I made a friend, a little robot.
Yeah, robot, not a robot
Aw.
friend. You know, in science fiction, robots either are our masters or our slaves.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wanted it to be like, hey, why can't we just be friends?
Yeah. It's so sweet. I can't believe you built all of those.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Well, I had the doll, and I had Nikki's help, but you know, just doing his room and just kind of imagining, okay, what are the 7 images that would go in this that tell the story?
How big was it actually?
What, the
Like-
dioramas?
Yeah, the dioramas.
Well, the one of him landing is about 10 foot long, that I was shooting into. Yeah, I can show you some pictures of. We had stuff everywhere. It was just a mess.
Did you shoot here or somewhere?
We shot in the studio, yeah. So the last shoot I did, there's a place in Denver called the Wildlife Repository. And what it is a warehouse in Denver where they take all of the dead animals that they catch at the border that someone's trying to bring in illegally because they were endangered or because they didn't have permits. And if they confiscate all these animals, they go to this warehouse. So I saw something about it, and there were like rows of tiger heads. And I said, well, it's an amazing place, and I wanted to shoot it, but I didn't want to shoot rows of tiger heads. That wouldn't do anything. I wanted to try to honor the animals and the life they had. So the one you see,
That's the tiger one.
this is, there's a tiger one, and also
this one.
the flamingo here, the larger one.
Oh, the flamingo.
So I had to bring everything with me and try to help dress it up and just kind of give it, kind of say something about how horrible it is that there's these stuffed animals, but also try to be honorable towards the animal and what its life was about. So
Was it hard to get permission to shoot?
very hard, yeah, it took weeks. And I shot it all on March 11th. The next day, everything was locked down, so the show was canceled. And I did the whole shoot in one day, which I'd never done before. But I only had one day out there. And I didn't know whether they were going to let me take animals out and everything else. So, but I got 10, 12 shots. Yeah, it was rough.
The flamingo was.
It hasn't been shown yet.
I feel it's so cool that
Yeah?
I can see it.
You want to see some other things?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I can take you through, I can show you some of the old photos that
Sure.
I collected that will
Absolutely.
kind of bring you back in time. And Mom, you can come over and see these too.
Yeah.
I collect some of these old viewers. This is battery operated, it has its own light in it. And this is what my dad would use when we were showing pictures. So, let's put the slide in here. Now what you do is you put the light on with that, and then you focus it here. So just with your left hand, put the light on, and with your right hand, you can focus it.
Whoa!
Yeah. So you kind of see how you go back in time. So that's me when I was 3 years old.
Oh!
So you can see the whole room and everything that's going on. Not that you wouldn't in a normal photograph, but it has a little, it gives you a little bit of a feeling, illusion of being in the room, right?
Yeah, I love like the Mackie PJs and everything. It's so cute.
That's my railroad outfit.
Aww.
It's very funny because the next year there's another picture he took. I'm wearing that same outfit, but I'm fighting somebody in the front yard, and my jacket's all ripped, and I've gone bad. I've been kicked out of the railroad, and I'm now like a bum on the street fighting people. Let me see if I can find a found photo. Yeah, this is just, who knows what this is from, but it's just so interesting to see kind of how people looked and what things that they were doing, and you just get so much detail.
Wow.
I mean, it's not, the image itself is, I mean, if it was a 2D image, okay, it's okay, but, when you kind of see everything spread around the table and everything, it's a whole another image, right?
It's so clear.
Yeah, well, that's the film part. So that's Kodachrome.
That's Kodachrome.
So Kodachrome, was around the time that this amateur camera was being used. It only lasted for a few years that people did this, but it was the combination of the stereoscopic you could do at home plus Kodachrome, which is so vivid. Don't make it anymore, but the colors are so saturated. So that film that you're looking at is the film that was in that camera when he took it. This lasted that long and is that vibrant still.
Wow.
That's not a reproduction, it's not computer or anything. It's just that piece of film that was shot in that camera probably 60 years ago.
That is amazing.
And so, I mean, now like a kid will have like, what, 1 million photos of themselves somewhere,
Yeah.
on some disc that's whatever. And
Look.
because it's so easy, right?
Yeah.
But it was such a process that there's maybe a handful, so they're so iconic.
Yeah.
Because it's a real, it's a serious image, it's not a snapshot. It's the real deal. And it just, for me, I look at that and it just packs a punch. I kind of feel like I'm in there, looking at myself in that room, so.
Does the stereoscopic camera look different than a regular
It
camera?
has 2 lenses. So usually, I'll show you some tomorrow. They're usually like taking a single lens reflex camera like yours, but with film one, and taking it apart, matching 2 lenses that do the same, and then linking them so they do the same things together, linking the electronics and building a body around it, so that you can focus both lenses at the same time. And it's Germans and Dutch, they would make these cameras. Nobody makes them anymore. Yeah, they're pretty rare. So I have about 5 or 6 of them, I'm lucky to say.
Nice.
Including, I just got an underwater one. It's very rare. Very rare.
Oh my gosh,
So
you're going to take amazing pictures with that.
My imagination is going crazy on what I could shoot with that.
Oh my God.
People jumping in with bubbles. You can do that upside down thing where, it looks like you're walking on water. If they're upside down in the water and their feet are towards the surface, and you get that light and it's like, what? It's nice, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what can come out of that. Yep. But when I see things like that, I just want to get them and collect them and protect them and make sure that they just don't disappear. I don't know what will happen to my stuff when I go. Hopefully, somebody will wander downstairs and go, maybe we shouldn't throw these out. Who knows, right? So let me see. You want to? Let's see. Give me a subject. I'll find something for you.
Food.
Oh. I just happen to have something for you. Oh yeah, see, it's really good that you brought that up. One of the things I found when I was collecting, and you wouldn't know what you were buying. You would see that somebody's selling stereo slides. I gotta get them. You never know what's going to be in there, right? And I noticed that in the 50s that people were using stereo cameras as salesman photographs. So they would have a viewer and a page of photographs, and they would show people the furniture they made or piece of property or land, because you could see it in depth. It's great for architecture. So there's some beautiful images that people have taken to show people different products. I found 1,000 stereo photographs of meat, and it was like they were being used for training about this is what this kind of cut looks like in 3D.
Wow.
right? And they'd show the back end of a cow. This is a prime back end of a cow. This is a choice back end of a cow. You know, it's just really, it's like, wow, I love that. I wish somebody would commission me to do something like that. Like, you know, let's say they're architects or something, photograph their projects in 3D, have it in their lobby. I would love doing things like that. That would be so much fun because it's a throwback to how people were using it. And I really, you know, I've tried to learn the history of this, you know, to help me be, you know, understand it better and be a better photographer. So here's there's some crazy shots in here. Let me see if I can get a food one for you first, because you did say. It's hard to kind of see them like this, but.
If you can't find a food one.
Well, I know I have a really good one, so it's like, oh, here's one that's just fantastic. It's one of my favorite photos of all time because it is so bizarre. And one last try at food. Okay, we're moving on. We're moving on, but this, you're lucky. I have this shot with me. It's classic.
Wow.
Right?
That is such a great picture.
And it's kind of like, you know, you can't even really, it's almost spooky how strangely appealing that image is, but it's, you don't even really kind of know what's going on, right? It's just, and the decor is different then, right?
Yeah.
I mean, places don't look like that, people don't dress like that. They certainly don't do what they're doing like that. It's just bizarre, right?
I wonder if they're still together.
That's good. So, if you can look at a picture and wonder something like that, then your picture's a novel. You know?
Yeah.
It tells a story. It's a crazy image. It's one of my favorites. It's just so crazy.
Nothing.
Isn't it amazing?
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's just like capturing
oh
like
my
just
God, it's
like one of the
fantastic.
crazy, just a crazy moment, you know?
I wonder what song was playing.
Yeah. Well, whatever it was, they couldn't dance to it. That's what I'm thinking.
I agree. They were not doing a good job, but they
No,
did
they
look
weren't.
like they were having a fun time.
One of the things I really like is I like water in 3D. It's very it's almost like a gel. You know, it just freezes the water in a suspended place and gives it a certain transparency that has depth to it. You'll know this person.
Oh, she was in one of the other ones, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's Whitney. She was
That's Whitney?
yep, it's
Oh
Whitney.
my gosh!
Yeah.
And you're totally right. The water, it is like gel.
Yeah, and it has depth to it. So it's not, you're just, you know, it's not like a water surface. You can kind of see the depth of the water as well.
Where were you guys?
That was at some guys, I was doing a shoot, there was a project called Artist Shooting Artists that was at MoCA GA. And they had a list of artists, and I said, oh, well, I want to shoot Whitney for sure.
Oh, it's totally Whitney. She is just straight out of like.
Oh my God, I have one.
She is straight
I
out
have
of
a
the
picture of her.
past. She's fantastic.
I have a photograph of her. This is the best photograph I've ever taken. It looks like Hollywood in 1940s. I swear to God, it is amazing.
Is it stereoscopic?
Oh yeah.
Oh, can't wait to see
Yeah,
it.
it's amazing.
Maybe you can show it to us tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I can. It's a good one. And she's just, you know.
She's so
precious to
beautiful.
me. I love her.
Yeah.
you know. And she's, you know, she's an artist.
Did you see the movie at 725 Ponce?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So this is an interesting, so sometimes I would try to use the stereo in trying to capture an abstract image and try to do like abstract 3D. So this is kind of interesting. I think you'd be the judge.
Whoa.
Right?
Is that a ball?
I don't know.
Oh my gosh. It looks like an ice sculpture almost.
Yeah. So it can come out pretty interesting. I have some others to show you like that are kind of cool.
The water droplets are
Yeah.
insane.
Oh my
It's kind of
God.
fun, isn't it?
Oh, you know what it reminds me of? There's an artist, and he painted a lot of swimming pools.
David Hackney?
Yes, that reminds me a lot of David Hockney. Because he also has a close-up one, kind of like that too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So here's a, this is, I can show you some subjects that I'll sometimes shoot in 3D because it'll definitely put kind of a different kind of cast on what comes out.
Do you have any rhyme or reason for the organization of these, or it's just...
Not today, I don't. Because in these notebooks, right, it's like, it'll be a lot of different things because I'm showing people a lot of different things. I've got several notebooks full, and sometimes they're all put in the right place, but they're sometimes hard to categorize too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know? So, all I know is that when I remember my images, and when I have to find one, I'll dig. I'll find it.
So when someone wants to buy one of your pieces, do they say, "Hey Peter, I really love flowers. Do you have any flowers?" Do they do that, or do you?
Well, I mean, normally they would see an image. First of all, that's a nice question because people don't even think, "Oh, can I buy these?"
Really?
Well, because it's so different that they're still getting their head around what am I looking at, right? And so they think, well, how do you get it in 2D and put it on a wall, right?
You don't.
You know, you have to think beyond how you're showing your image, right? So you're going to have that in your house. You might have a light box in front. It might be in front of a window. How many times can you put a piece of art in front of a window? You can't.
Who said this is in front of a window?
Yeah.
Right. So it's, you know, you can, so if somebody comes to me and says, well, I'm interested in an image, I'll say, well, tell me one thing, where are you going to put it? So, you know, if people with a mountain house or something, you can put something in that image where people go up to the window, they don't know what they're going to be looking at, but they think they're going to be looking at something out there.
Outside, exactly.
And so you kind of take their, perception and their expectations, and you take them a different place. You know, you kind of shift you kind of bend it. You know, so it might be that thing up on the mountain. You know, you're looking out on mountains, but then there's, you know, or you can even I did one shot for a woman where she had her whole family off her back porch, and I took that shot, and the viewer is on her back porch. So you're standing looking out at the porch, and when you look in the viewer, that porch is filled with people.
Wow.
That's fun, right?
That's so much fun.
So you can do it with this, where you couldn't normally do that. I mean, it would be somewhere else in the house. It'd be like, oh, we took this out there. Well, you can see that. But when you're actually looking out there, and then you look and something happens when you're looking out there, because it looks the same. It's got that depth, but it's filled with people, right? It's really fun. So
Also, like if you have a collector and they have one of your, because you sell the machine with the image.
the stand, yeah.
The stand with the image. But then what if they can they just buy other images for
Sure.
you that they can put
Absolutely.
in the same viewer? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great. You know who really love these things? Well, people like them. I mean, when people come in here, and it kind of, wow, this is a different way of looking at a photograph, right? So you get that. Little kids go crazy for some reason. They love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure why. I mean, I don't know if they even know what the difference would be, but they love maybe the physical part of it. You know, looking at something, it's like theirs, right? Kids like that.
I think I'm still a kid myself.
But they have no money for buying art. That's the problem. They love my stuff. They would be my biggest collectors, but their allowances are tiny.
Yeah. I think there's like a part of it, like with the 3D, there's a part of it that like adds whimsy to it.
Yeah.
Whereas like, you know, even if, you know, that image versus that image, there's something different to it being 3D, and like you said, being able to see the light and being able to, it's like you're something is being, like a moment is getting captured. It's like you're this close to actually being able to touch it, you know, and I think that's part of it. Yeah.
So the shows that I've done, for example, this show here was my take on climate change. And it was basically an abstract representation of, it was kind of like the earth, like just letting off steam, you know, like like in the cartoon.
Yeah.
And it was, I wanted to take these, landscape shots, which I don't usually take, but landscapes that were beautiful, but also had this kind of ominous presence.
Ooh.
Right? To just kind of like try to get a feeling of there's something happening in this beautiful place. Right? Something doesn't belong.
Yeah. Did you put a smoke machine or?
I used military grade smoke bombs. I was chased off several properties. Had the fire department come out many times. I have to tell you, that was there were some times when I wasn't probably mishandled my equipment.
I love that.
That one was fun. That was taken right outside of Mocha J actually, because they had a huge just gully filled with that stuff.
Oh God, that is so beautiful.
So it's a nice image, right? But it was about, it was like we're
There's something
unleashing
brewing.
gases.
Yeah.
So here's one that I think again is just kind of a a very common thing, but comes across a little differently.
Oh. Where was this?
It's on the west coast of Maui.
That's beautiful. I love the road.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a road.
Yeah.
To go somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. At first I thought it was California. Wow. Oh wow. That looks
It's a
like
real
when
road,
we were
isn't it?
driving around in
So-
Hawaii for sure.
So it's not that a 2D photograph doesn't convey perspective and depth. It does, because you see how the road curves and it kind of it narrows to a point as it goes. But still, with this technology,
You feel like you're in a Jeep and you're
You feel
literally
like that
you're
road
just
is-
about to
you're on that road.
You are on the road.
You're on
You're
that
just
road.
about to drive
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, you can almost tell that you can see over the hill.
Mm-hmm.
That it drops down and where it drops down and all of that. It's kind of fun. Let me show you some other things.
Yeah. How much do your pieces go for?
Well, it depends. If I do a commission, it depends on the size. The medium format is larger. So normally the single photographs, if I have an image already made, it can be like 1,000, 1,200 if I'm doing a little more. 1,500 if I'm doing a commission, I'll do like $1,500, something like that. I'll just add $500 to my thing. So for the medium format, it would be like $1,500 for an image, and then close to $2,000 to do a commission, depending on what the commission was.
Does that include the stand though?
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Layla's an art collector, so
You have allowance? I had it's so funny, I was telling this story to somebody the other day. I had a stand in a friend's kind of like antique shop. He's had it there for a long time. People love it, but it hasn't moved for years. It's just been sitting there. One day I was in there and there was another customer, and he knew that she was a photographer. He said, "Hey, come and look at this image." She looked at it. She goes, "Oh, that's great." She goes, and he goes, "This is the photography." She goes, "Oh my God, I love that." And everything. Do you sell those? And I go, "Yeah." "How much do they cost?" And I told her the price. She goes, "Oh, you're not trying to sell it." I was like, "Wow, that was a real slap." It's like, "Oh, come on, who are you kidding?"
do you remember when you came to our house for the party?
Yeah.
So the room before the kitchen, like when you came in the house, you probably came in through the front door
Yeah.
and took a right. There was
Yes.
a room that had a lot of art in it.
Yes.
That's all Layla's art.
Nice.
She's been-
That was a fun time.
Yeah, that was a really good time.
And
We'll have-
everybody came out and looked at the car. We lit up.
that was so fun. Yeah.
Lucinda through because the passenger door wouldn't open. So much fun. Oh, here's another one I wanted to show you that was just happened to be a photo I caught that, thank God I caught it. You wouldn't have had another chance at it, but it kind of does something that you would not be able to do with a regular photograph. Let me see. I think it was right here. No, maybe that's not it. Oh, here. Is the light out?
No, I think it might be is it done the wrong way?
Could be.
No, yeah, the light's out. Oh, wait, never mind. Whoa!
Isn't it crazy?
It's a bubble.
That's a shot you'll never get a second chance at. That's for sure.
That is so good.
This one will work. Is that light working?
Yeah. Where were you?
That's the Variety Playhouse.
That's
Kinda fun, isn't it?
unbelievable.
Yeah. So here's another abstract shot that I kind of like. Yeah, this is so again, you know, I didn't have enough light to actually take any shots, so I kind of went abstract. Is that fun? So, you know, I mean, it's a mistake, right? But in 3D it kind of has something to it, right?
Yeah. It has movement.
Yeah, it has movement.
Yeah. And the lights at the bottom, like with the people that are holding lights, it
Yeah.
almost looks like silly string. Like
Right.
with glow in the dark silly string in a good way.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Isn't that fun? It's like an abstract painting almost, but in 3D.
Oh, that's so cool. It kind of reminds me of the Julie's piece that you saw earlier in the stadium a little bit.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
So this, which one is that? Is
That was the one that.
was in there?
Yeah.
Okay, I have another one to show you. That this was from a show where I asked people to kind of imagine themselves, like where they want to be to represent something about themselves. Okay, which is always kind of like what I try to do with a portrait. You know, like what am I going to be able to tell you about this person that is going to be, you know, authentic. And so they would describe things to me, and then I would collaborate with them and try to find the place to shoot it. And I just saw one here that I particularly liked from that show. Oops. Let's see. Oh yeah. There it is. I have a hard time seeing it because it's the same color as that. Is this the one that's working?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, we go. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So her idea was she wanted to be like a circus performer that was backstage getting ready to go out on a horse. Some of these were not easy, but it kind of works, doesn't it?
It's so beautiful.
You're in love. I see the face.
You're making my day, I'll tell you.
Oh, oh my gosh, he's even wearing shoes that you like, Layla. Oh, that's
It
magnificent.
kind of does what she asked, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. Jeez, that's pretty good. What's also so cool about this that I'm noticing, your work brings a sense of community because it's sharing. It's sharing.
It's sharing,
It's
yeah.
sharing.
It
It's
is, you're sharing.
collective looking.
Right. And you're talking, and
yeah.
you're like, you know, what are you looking at? And you know, it's and that was the thing about it in the old days. I had developed something where it could be put in a gallery that people could go up to because they wouldn't come up and pick up something off the table, right?
Yeah, it's sharing. It's going back in time, but it's here in the present.
And it's sharing something intimate too. You
Yeah.
can't even just like show it to the whole room. You gotta,
No,
you know,
you kind of have to
and
lean
you
in.
don't, and it's fun because you don't know what you're going to be seeing.
Yeah.
You know.
Or you can say, hey, this is a picture of a,
But it's still
this
gonna
is
be
a
a
picture of a
surprise.
bedroom set. And it's
Yeah.
like, what? That,
Yeah.
wow. Yeah. And it's funny, especially during COVID, this is so,
Forbidden.
yeah, but it's like, we're getting together, we're playing board game, we're talking, we're laughing. It's just,
I'm crying at Coca-Cola Christmas ads. Emotional wreck. Every day I have to see a human, talk to a human, maybe a little witty texting, and I'm good. And I don't see a person, I feel like, whoa. You know, you just can't imagine what happens to people in solitary confinement. It's amazing, right? It's
yeah.
horrible. So I've been doing a lot of writing. I wrote a whole editorial on leaf blowers that got published in the Dallas Morning News on Friday.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was like a lot of work. Because I'm sitting home listening to those things and it's driving me crazy. Right?
Yeah.
Here, you want to see another family one?
Yeah.
This is classic. This is just, you know, I look at these and I go, says everything. Look no further. Oh yeah. Oh Jesus.
Oh, wow. The oranges are so
Well,
great.
that's the thing, you know. My mom somehow, you know, she really took advantage of the old Kodachrome on when she used to dress us up on Christmas or whatever it was.
This is your family.
Oh my goodness. Whoa.
Isn't that crazy?
That's unbelievable.
And it's so amazing too because it's like such a posed thing, but there's something that's like, oh wow, man, I am sitting around that place. You know, I can remember every minute of it when I look at it. You know. So lighting is big.
Yeah.
You can't see the light come through here, but this will give you a. You know, I think if you're a photographer, you shoot what you love. Anything, if you love it, you can shoot it. You know, and if you don't love it, you probably shouldn't even shoot it. You know, I just have to be motivated.
Yeah.
Right. I just have to kind of love it. And so this was my ex-wife, who I loved, and you know, you can tell. Right? Can't you tell?
Yeah. This is beautiful.
Yeah. You gotta leave room for mistakes too. You know, as much as I try to like think through, oh, how am I gonna shoot this? I have an image in my head I wanna do, it's not gonna be like that. But mistakes are great. You know, it's like, who was it? Quincy Jones said, you know, you gotta leave 20% of the room to God.
Wow.
You know, gotta give him room. You know, it's good. You can't control it. You gotta give him room. He's gonna make the magic happen.
So beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
Right? And you can feel that I love her.
Yeah.
When you look at my photos of Whitney, you know that I love her. You know, I mean, I'm just treating her with the respect that she deserves. I'm like doing
Beautiful.
something to honor who she is.
Yeah.
You know?
That is a really beautiful picture of her. And the flowers, perfect too.
Yeah.
The light is beautiful.
See if I can get something that has a nice ray of light in it. I don't know if I have anything right here. Let's see. Yeah, don't think I do.
What's the projector for?
The projector is for if I was doing a studio shot, right? And I was thinking that I could also shoot some light, like project the light through it. And some, you know, I use all sorts of different things to shoot light, little flashlights and, you know, little things I can draw with. Because I don't want a lit surface. I want a light in the photo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was thinking of using the projector to take an image, even if it's a background or something, and throwing some color in, you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of things with an open lens, right?
Okay.
And because I like to use like lights, I like to like give it some poppy, you know, like even the smoke shots. I'll try to light that smoke because otherwise, you know, you need to get some body in it. You need to get some contrast and color. So I'll set up crazy lights in places, and just try to see how I can push light into the photograph so that the light helps fill the space, you know, instead of just as on a surface reflected.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get it, you know, in there. And if you have smoke, you can get a ray through there, right? You can get it because it'll, you know, like if there's dust in the air, you'll see the light from a window, right, come through in a beam. Well, you can capture that beam, you know, but it's hard to capture because if you try to flash it, it's going to wipe it out.
Yeah.
Right. So what I do a lot of times is if I have someone in the photograph, I'll flash you real quick and I'll catch you, and then I'll just keep a lens open at a very small aperture, and I'll just dance around with the light, and you just stay there. Right. You'll be in the dark. You've already had your photo put on the image with a flash, which lasted for a split second, and then the lens is still open. So I'm putting light in around it as you're sitting there. But if you were lit and it was taking 20 seconds, you're going to move. You're not going to be in focus. So you have to kind of figure out when you're doing these things, if you're doing that kind of thing, how do you do that? You know?
So you're self-taught, but did you take any photography classes?
No.
How did you learn this stuff about lighting? Was it just trial and error, just looking, or did you just have a sense of it?
Lots of trial and error, but I also, it's like what I was saying, once I learned the technology, what you can do, then you want to do something, right, that you haven't seen. You get an idea of something and boom. You know, it's like, I wonder if I could do that. That would be interesting. Play with the different exposure levels. It's very hard, you know, but you can kind of do it if you've got the time to shoot film in that way and can try to figure out how can you get something lit so it doesn't move and lit for a long time so something else does move, you know?
But then if you had to send your film away and it would take like, 2 weeks or whatever, so you don't get it back for 3 weeks, how do you remember what you shot because you're still shooting?
I open that thing up with total fear and terror, and I'll go through rows of film. I didn't get anything. You know, it's like wasn't lit, wasn't exposed. They moved, and then it'll be like, please, you know. I did one portrait of somebody here at the goat farm. I shot 2 rolls of film, which in my medium format camera was 12 shots in 5 hours. 5 hours. You better know when to hit that button, because it's going to be a moment. You're not just going to like be able to do this, right? You're going to have to be on it and ready and have your stuff ready and nail that shot. And so you really learn how to shoot.
Yeah.
With a way that gives you the feel that I think you need, that anyone needs as a photographer, to kind of know what pause you're trying to capture, right? Because it's going to change in a millisecond, right? And that's the thing I envy about digital, but I also hate about it, because it feels like odds are, you're going to get something that kind of works. You don't know why. It was 1 millisecond from the other. But if you're sitting there and you're watching and you're waiting and you have to get this stuff ready, and the person does something and you shoot it and you catch it, it's a lot of work. You know, it's a lot of work, and you're exhausted from it almost, because it's just so intense.
Yeah.
But it's what I think puts a little bit of that connection in the photograph that you have with the person that you're taking the photograph with. You're trying to say something that is authentic and sincere to that person. Right?
Yeah.
And that's not just going to come from love, I'll show you one that I took of. Do you know Corbel?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have one of Corbel that was actually used for the invitation for this portrait show I did, and I didn't think I got a shot of her. There was one photo that I said, well, I don't know. I don't know. I was a little disappointed, but I said, but there's maybe this one. So they came over and they just looked at it and they went, oh my God, you totally nailed it, Corbel. And I didn't really know her that well at the time, right? it was a very difficult shoot because she's young, and yeah. You're gonna have to look up in the light on this one.
Okay.
And yeah, there you go. And I really have grown to love that shot so much. But I just really didn't think I nailed it. But then when they told me that was her expression, you know, that's like her. And I was like, okay, good. Then I'm loving it because it's got you know, if you look at a viewer, you can take the time to poke around the photo, you know.
Yeah.
So you know how sometimes you look at a photograph on a wall and you kind of glance at it. If you want to look deeper, you go over and you spend time with it, right? There's a way to kind of walk around the room in the viewer where you're noticing things that just would fly by, right? Mm-hmm. And there's just an oddity about her expression and what she's doing and where she is. It's almost you know, it almost looks like it could have been like, you know, from the 1700s or something.
She looks like a little Victorian.
Yeah,
painting.
right, yeah, exactly, yeah. That's it.
That's a beautiful photo. Dude. I think you have to turn behind you and look at the light.
Yeah, it's dark.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
It's great, isn't it?
It is so fantastic.
I mean, I'm not saying that like I'm a great photographer.
No, but it's
just
beautiful
the
photo.
image just really works for me, you
gorgeous.
know. Like I love it.
Yeah.
I really it just has it's kind of like it's that rare moment of like, you know what, I kind of caught something worthwhile in there.
No, that is
You know, and it just kind of
fantastic.
stands up.
Sorry, that was beautiful.
I should be famous.
You should be.
It's totally not. Nobody cares. It's amazing.
They should though,
You know,
because it's
kind of
really
Atlanta, to tell you the
amazing.
truth. It's kind of Atlanta. You know, people think that if there's something in Atlanta, it's just pedestrian, right? It's really weird. You know, I don't think you could go to many cities actually where there's a photographer doing this.
I totally
really
agree.
don't. And if they're doing it, they're not doing this. You know?
I think there's a really fantastic art community here, like a really high level art community that you would
Just
just
not
never.
supported.
It isn't supported, but you also just wouldn't think it was here because we're from New York, so
Because it's not supported.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's horrible. The city with this much money, I know so many artists that it's just like it's nothing. You know, they should be famous. They get nothing. It's just like no attention, no reviews. They'll do a show, no reviews. What's the point?
Yeah.
They're not selling anything. You know, and you're not even getting a review to show people that like someone said this is what's
That it even
happening here, or you know, knows that it's there. You know.
unbelievable.
This at least has an element of surprise. So if I actually do get a show and people do come to it, even if they don't know what to expect, it kind of works because they don't know what to expect, you know.
What's so funny is that because Layla's had her club this is the 9th year, so she's seen hundreds of exhibitions, like in Atlanta, around the world, just literally hundreds. And we've never seen anything like this.
The closest to anything like this would be Abelardo Morel.
Yes, exactly.
But even his stuff wasn't exactly like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, what I'm interested in is, you know, sometimes when you go to artist talks, I have this thing about, I don't think anybody should ever get up in front of an audience and talk for more than 3 minutes. Because I don't really want to hear everything in your brain. Right? I don't. Because actually, you're talking me out of liking your stuff. Because I liked it, and I thought there was something there, but the fact that you're explaining everything that's in your brain, it doesn't work for me anymore. I think now it doesn't work. You argued against it, you know? But I think that when you can do a show and tell, people can handle it. It's a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
But you know, there is something that I'm, you know, that I'm trying to do with this, which is how can it be, how can I show it in a cohesive way that does invite people to participate in it? Because I think it then becomes a little experiential. right? And they're interested in what is happening. You get to talk about how your eyes see the world. People really don't understand that. You know, I don't know what you get taught, but you know, maybe you get taught that in school. But it was an interesting thing for me to understand the connection between how we see as a species and what photography means and how we look at it. Particularly in a day and age when everything's online.
Yeah.
Everybody has a camera in their pocket. How do you stand out from that? You know, you have to do something that's pretty far afield and pretty old school or new school or something. But again, I can't show these online,
Yeah.
right? So I don't have that audience. I have a you know, it's eyes on the viewer. Someone
Yeah.
has to actually see my viewer and look at it to see my work. There's no other way to do it, you know. And that's kind of frustrating, but also kind of special.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of feel like you're going to see something that's different, right? And it's going to maybe help you think about photography some way, where, you know, what it became for me was depiction of our spaces.
Yeah.
You know, like how does someone sit in space? What is the space that they are in? What are the things in their space? Those are important, right? So if you look at Courtney, that picture of the girl in front of the shack, she's here in the goat farm.
Yeah.
That's her little trading center. And did you see her fingers and things?
Yeah, I was wondering about
Yeah.
that.
So there's just these little tiny things in there, right? That just kind of like, you'd miss it, right?
Uh-huh.
If you weren't kind of roaming around in the photo.
Yeah.
But they're important. It's like it says things, you know.
How did you decide to put the treehouse on Airbnb?
You know, I read an article that was an interview with the guys that started Airbnb, and they were talking. This was like maybe 5 years ago. And, you know, I built the treehouse 20 years ago. I didn't build it for that, you know. So,
Wow.
so they said, you know, people like to stay in unusual places like yurts and teepees and tree houses. And treehouse, I got a suite, right? But I didn't think anybody would come. I didn't really think anybody would come. And I've met 1,800 people that have come. And I thought maybe at first like, wow, I'm hot. I was #1 most wished for Airbnb in the world for 2 years. But I realized it had nothing to do with me. There's something about this place, and also something about this idea of we all want to live in a farm in Central Park,
Oh my gosh.
right? Nature and stuff. We
Yeah.
want it both. You know, we don't just like go out to the woods anymore. We go crazy.
Yeah.
And if we want to say we gotta go to the woods once in a while. So it's that little combination of just like a nice little, I mean, that's nature, right? We don't have to like, you know, we don't have to punish every leaf that dares drop on a wall. I mean, it's like, it's kind of excessive.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to disturb the whole neighborhood because you don't want to look at a leaf on the way from your car to your door? I just don't understand it, really, I don't. And I talk to kids about it, and I say, you know, the Luna moth, which is like this huge, beautiful lime green moth, lays its, you know, it needs the leaf. It's insulation. It you know, its larvae is in there. Fireflies. You know, don't they teach you kids? They don't know what I'm talking about.
No.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, nature's not there. It's all around us. You know, even if it's like a little flower poking up through the pavement. You know, we need it.
Yeah.
We need it.
I'm taking an environmental sciences class right now, and so I'm learning all about.
Have you ever heard of Greenpeace?
Yes, I have.
I used to run Greenpeace.
Hey.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
You're rare that you even know what Greenpeace is. Everybody used to know Greenpeace. Now kids don't even know what it is. It's so amazing to me. It's rare that you know.
It's weird that I feel like it's interesting that kids don't know Greenpeace is, but yet my generation is so like gung ho about saving the environment.
Yeah, did you know what Greenpeace is all about? It was a really different thing.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was like, you know, it was like being a juvenile delinquent for a cause. You know, you could act up and go against bad guys, and you were doing it for good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
saw the world. Wish I'd been a photographer at the time. I would have had some shots, right? But you know, I have something.
yeah. More than just something. Alrighty, is there anything else you want to say? Or
Yeah, you don't encourage that. Please. It's like,
alrighty then.
alrighty then.
This was Peter Behuth
I'll say, and more. Too much. Too much. This was too much Peter Behuth.
This is are you on?
I've been locked up, so when people come to talk, man, I'm ready to go.
Oh yeah, but this is good. I learned so much. Are you on social media or anything like that?
Yeah.
What's your Instagram?
It is P. Behuth.
Follow him at P. Behuth.
Yeah, you can do that. That's right. And also follow my leaf blower activism on Facebook and Twitter and yeah.
Absolutely, and come buy his stuff. It's super cool.
Yeah. Get a paper route if your allowance isn't big enough. Start, just add it up. We'll work something out, layaway or something. You just pay back. I really want you to have the photograph more than anything, so we'll work something out.
Yeah, exactly. He wants you to buy work. You want the work.
That's right.
It's a win-win.
Yep.